Oh. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Working Horses with Jim, and I am Jim, and I am out going to be mowing hay with Bill and Baron. Bill and Baron. Both of these two went to the woods this morning, got a nice big wagon load of logs, had about 1,100 and some odd feet on the load, and then we came home. I unharnessed them, put them in the barn, and then after lunch, I harnessed up Duke Earl, and I came out, and as you can see, this is raked. I raked all this, double windrowed it. It's fairly thin, as you can see, and the standing hay left to be cut. Oh, this is Monday night. On Saturday night, I was trying to finish this up, but I couldn't quite get it all mowed, so I had to call it quits, and then I decided to wait until now to mow it. A couple of the things had come up, so that's what we did. Across the road, my neighbor is getting his horses ready to go out to, I think, to maybe pick up some hay. I'm not sure. Out in the distance, you can see some round bales, and that was baled up on Saturday night. That's some first cutting that's kind of out in the swamp, and it took a little doing to even get that baled up because of the wetness still out there. But we'll get mowing here and see what we can get done tonight. Jeep. Jeep, 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 jeep. Careful. Well, it's been quite a warm evening. Still in the 80s, I think. But the horses got it done pretty quick order. And we'll deal with getting some hay dry tomorrow. Good morning, everybody. I got my manure spread, and now I'm going to go ted some hay. I was asked in the last comment, I think it was one of the last comments. I have shown my power takeoff spreader, and somebody asked, well, why don't you have a ground-driven spreader? Well, as you can see, I do have a ground-driven spreader. I've had this for years. This is a Grim TEDDER. Did I say ground spreader or TEDDER? Anyways, this is a TEDDER. So this is a ground-driven TEDDER. So this belt right here is driven by the tires in the ground. So as it turns this, and it makes this operate. So I think we'll get down to the field, and I've got a bunch of things maybe if I can think of to talk about on this TEDDER, and I will. But it's basically very simple. It's just got the belt, and you turn it into gear by turning this little knob right here on both sides. It's not in gear now. I'm actually going to back the horses up, unhitch and back them up, and have it in gear. So we're going to kick it in gear now. These guys have never run this TEDDER before. I highly doubt there'll be an issue, but I'm going to kick it in gear. You got to do both sides at the same time, or both sides. You can't just do one side because you have two wheels. But anyways, that's in gear now. So I'm going to hitch the horses, and I'm going to back them up a little bit and just drive them to the truck body to see if they freak out big time on that. It's fairly warm here already. I see that Duke is quite sweaty sitting there. We spread that manure, and then I went in for a coffee break, and they've sat out here for a little while, and he's all sweated up just from standing here. And part of the reason is because he's been on a lot of grass, and that grass makes him sweat. But anyways, they'll be fine. I don't mind a horse that sweats. I'm just more concerned about their wind and make sure they don't breathe hard as they're working. But I'm going to set the camera down, and we'll back that up and just see what happens. Okay, so let's hitch these, let's get these out of here and head down to the field. And I'll just talk to you a little bit about the pros and the cons of the two different TEDDERs. Oh. Okay, so we're down in a hayfield. Oh. I really don't have to ted this hay. There's not a lot here, and it was almost dry last night, and really all I need to do is just roll it over, and later this afternoon I would bale it up. But for the sake of you guys that have questions on TEDDERs, I decided, well, this is the perfect time to hitch the horses to this TEDDER, give Duke and Earl a little bit more work, and show you how it works. So this is there's a bunch of things about this TEDDER I want to try to remember to tell you. So when at times I have hay all raked up like this, and yet it's not quite dry, well, this TEDDER works really good for just going around the windrows and fluffing up the windrows. So this is just a fluffer type of a TEDDER, whereas my other one is a whirly TEDDER, I kind of call it, and it really has a lot of power because it's got the motor, and it really throws it hard and kind of smashes the leaves up, or the stems up actually really well. So it helps dry things out really nice. So but most of the time when it gets somewhat dry, you really don't want that whirly type TEDDER because it actually does a lot of damage. Whereas this one is a lot gentler TEDDER, and and it doesn't do anywhere near the damage. It just kind of fluffs it out. So anyways, let me get going and I'll talk as we ride along. I'm afraid my filming is not too good. Brenda is not here. It's actually Abby's birthday today, and they are on a trip, and they took with a bunch of her friends, and they actually took Brenda along with them. And so you guys that know Abby, wish her a happy birthday either here in the comments or in her channel in the comments there. I'm sure they are having a great time. They're coming home today, but they went to Nova Scotia. So I know we have some viewers from Nova Scotia. So if you see the girls, say hi to them. But anyways, it's very difficult to film without Brenda here to help, especially when I have Duke and Earl, because as good as they're doing, I cannot trust them and drop my lines and go set up the camera. So you'll have to live with what we have today. So I'm going to put this in gear, and we'll see if we can't get Ted in a little bit of hay, and I'll show you how it works. Cast up. So as you see, it just kind of gently fluffs up the hay, and yet keeps it in somewhat of a windrow, so I can easily come back and rake it into a good windrow for the baler. When we get done with tedding these 6 windrows, I will even go into the hay that I cut last night and ted that with this tedder and show you how that works. Oh. So this field right here is actually my neighbor's field, at least down to that brush line right there. The further field I own. And she has decided, or they have decided, they're going to build a barn right here. That's why these stakes are in, and that's why those pipes there for the culvert are there. And so I have decided, and I told her I'm going to back away, not use her fields, and let her use them for her own animals. And that's something I'm kind of looking forward to. It's going to cut back on my haying quite a lot for next year and years to come. And I just would like to slow down a little bit, and to give me a little bit more time to maybe even get away and do a few things. I still will have plenty of ground to cover, but I don't know what we do cover for ground right now. But I used to figure back when we were milking cows that we actually had some rented land besides, and we actually would cut about 200 acres a year for crops. And I'm telling you, that's a lot of ground to cover with almost completely with horses. I had the tractor, of course, for the baler, but so much of the time it was done with the horses as far as the mowing, raking, and tedding. And so it's just a lot of ground to cover. Now that's with 2, sometimes even 3 cuttings, but still, it's a lot of ground. So now that would make things a lot easier for me if I get to cut back and maybe do a few other things. My neighbor stopped in last night to use the telephone to call the midwife. So his wife is actually hopefully has already had the baby. And there's one more addition to the Amish family here, hopefully now. Stop. Careful. Okay, so now we're done tedding up the windrows, and we're going to come out into the hay that I just cut last night. I wouldn't normally ted this right yet because it hasn't dried, and I'm not even going to do the whole thing. I just want to go around it once to show you guys so you guys can compare tedders. And I want to talk a little bit about the differences between the two tedders, and I kind of wanted to tell you which ones I like best. And to tell you the truth, I like them both, but just some things are a little better at different things. You know, let's start with the Grim Tedder. The Grim Tedder is so much easier on the hay. It has different advantages because, like I just did, I can ted windrows that aren't quite dry without throwing them too far out of place. They're easy to break back into a windrow. It does not cost anything for gas. It's quiet. There are other advantages too, I'm sure. The disadvantages of the Grim is the fact that sometimes I feel it doesn't get all the grass like it should, whereas the other tedder tends to get every bit of grass and throws it into a, spreads it out. So that's the disadvantage of the Grim Tedder, but I think it's still a great tedder and it works great. The other tedder, the whirly type of tedder, like I said, it just seems to pick up all the grass and does such a good job of throwing it around. It's a little rough on especially on clover hay and alfalfa, but it still does a wonderful job of doing it. But it costs money because it takes gas. I have a little 13 horsepower motor, and of course it doesn't take that much gas, but still it takes some. And then there's also the noise. It's louder than this one. When the kids were growing up, they just spent hours and hours on this tedder. It was just a super job for all the kids to practice driving and just to help me out. And they would just go around the field with this tedder, and a lot of times they'd have friends over and they'd go out with their friends and ride around in the field with the tedder. And it was just great for them all to learn more about horses and driving horses and be able to get something done at the same time. So anyways, overall, I like both my tedders. I just feel that there's different uses for each one, and I'll probably continue using both tedders.
If you guys have thoughts on tedders, let me know in the comments. Even if you've never used a tedder, but you've seen my two work, which would you prefer if you were to start in farming and could only buy one? And then you guys have used them both. What do you think? Which is the biggest and the best? I mean, which is the best spreader in your situation? So I guess we're going to be finishing up on this video. And like I said, don't forget to wish Abby a happy birthday. And I guess I probably better do it myself. Happy birthday, Abby. I hope you had a great time in Nova Scotia with your friends and your mom. And I love you. And you're doing quite an accomplishment up at that house. I'm pretty proud of you. So have a good day.
Well guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. You have a great day, rest of the day. This is probably going to be the last haying video that I do for this year, because this is probably the last field that I'm going to be baling up. I might cut a little piece and round bale and wrap it, but good chance I won't even do that. I have a lot of logging to do. I've just picked up another sawmill that wants me to bring them some logs, so we're going to be pretty darn busy, I'm pretty sure. So you guys have a great day, like I said. We'll see you next time.